Police brutality, it happens more than we'd like, but we here in Los Angeles know it happened. Just remember Rodney King. But in some states, just recording a police officer doing anything can get you arrested. Pull out a phone and hit record, you could go to jail. What happened to our rights? We've all been there at one point or another, but are you really safe at LAX? A special investigation that will prove our airport has some work to do. And politicians gone wild. If this is what politics are like in India, remind me to stay away from the Capitol. All the stories people are talking about and everything you need to know right now on The Filter. Hello again. Off the top, The Filter forefront, our top four of the day, including, would you boycott the restaurants if the food trucks told you to? But we'll begin with this. Yesterday, we told you about a Maryland man facing 16 years in prison simply for videotaping a police officer during a traffic stop without the officer's consent. Turns out videotaping police without their permission is a violation of wiretap laws in 12 states. But wait a minute here. Taking video with my cell phone? Isn't that within my rights? If not, we wouldn't have videos like the Rodney King beating, and we wouldn't have this either. Home video from San Francisco recently emerged showing police there throw a woman to the ground after she resisted being placed in the back of the squad car. But if videotaping police weren't legal in California, the people who shot that video could be facing jail time. Our contributors tonight, Megan Barth and Leo Terrell. Our pictures are furnished by Skype. Leo, let's kick it off with you. Citizen video, often used in cases of police brutality, but if it's not legal to shoot that video, aren't we endangering ourselves?
Yes, and I don't believe that man in Maryland will face 16 seconds in jail. There's a First Amendment issue. These officers are in the public eye. Videotaping these officers make perfect sense because they videotape as well. And what about the media? The media has a First Amendment right. What if they're following a car chase and their mics pick up the sound between the officer and the suspect? Let me sit here and say this very clearly. That man will not face 16 years in jail. This case will be thrown out. And basically, if he is convicted, it will be overturned. He has First Amendment rights.
But, Leo, this is the law in 12 states. 12 states.
It's a law, Fred, that they're using to expand it to cover police officers while in the performance of duty. This is not a wiretap. And somehow some police association have tried to stretch this law to cover police officers while they're out in the public. We're not talking about police officers at home. We're talking about police officers in the course and scope of their duty in the eyes of the public. He will not serve a day in jail.
Megan, does this make any sense to you?
No, it doesn't make any sense. It just seems like it's one of those laws that are being expanded, in an incorrect manner. It doesn't seem like the crime does fit the time. 16 years is way too much to impose on a citizen that is protecting himself, possibly protecting himself from police excesses. If we didn't have video cameras and camera phones, we wouldn't have caught the Rodney King beating during the riots. And it's very, that shocked, the country and started those riots. So it's very important for citizens to arm themselves with a camera to protect themselves against police excesses. And I think that perhaps this law is being utilized in the inappropriate manner. And like Leo said, it is a First Amendment right, and we must protect ourselves as citizens. The more and more the technology develops, the more opportunity citizens are going to have to protect themselves with cameras via cell phones, and that needs to be protected.
Of course. It's a way of life in today's world. I mean, my kids walk around. They've got phones with cameras, video on it. They hit that thing, they take pictures of everything. You're not going to throw somebody in jail for making a picture. I mean, it makes no sense.
Fred, your kids will get free legal services from the law office of Leo Terrell. They got nothing to worry about. Nothing.
And from your mouth to God's ears, Leo. Okay. $800,000 a year. You'd love to have that income, wouldn't you? Well, if you were the city manager in Bell, you'd have it. Outcry amongst residents in Bell has been loud over the past week, and it came to light when city manager Robert Rizzo was taking in $800,000 a year. Quite possibly the highest among any city manager in the country, all for a city of just 38,000 people. In addition to Rizzo, the police chief makes $450,000. Members of the city council about $100,000 a year. Residents have called for the resignation of 3 officials, but if the city manager is forced out, how about this? His contract gives him a $600,000 pension. Somehow salaries have gotten way out of control in Bell. Who could be responsible for such high salaries, and what should happen to these officials, Megan?
Well, who's responsible for these high salaries are the folks that negotiated these salaries and the folks that signed the contract to enact these salaries and to make them legit. Robert Rizzo, if he lives a normal life, if he lives a normal lifespan, he will collect $26 million over his lifetime from this pension fund.
Wait a minute. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you one quick question, Megan. You know, who's responsible? And you said, well, the guy that negotiated and the guy that signed it. I'm going to tell you what. You want to offer me $800,000 a year and then give me a $600,000 pension so I can make $26 million? If somebody wants to offer that to me, I'm signing. I'm signing right now.
Well, yeah, but you know, the city, absolutely. Of course, I would sign that too, Fred. I'd be right along with you. But the fact is that the city council members are responsible for these city contracts. So they are just as responsible as Robert Rizzo is responsible for taking advantage of the taxpayers and of his position.
Then they're more responsible. Then they're more responsible than Robert Rizzo. They're more responsible.
Sure, they're more responsible. So what does that mean? If you want to put it in another perspective, the city of Bell has 34,000 residents. The president of the United States makes $250,000 a year. This guy makes nearly 4 times the amount as the president of the United States.
Yeah, but
so
Megan,
wouldn't the city council members think that, geez, $800,000 a year is a little bit much for a city manager of 34,000 people?
Yeah, Megan, though, with all due respect, if we asked you if the president of the United States made too much, at least this one, you'd say, yes, he does. He needs a cut. Go ahead, Leo. Go ahead.
Let me tell you right now, we're missing the 36,000 residents. They are responsible. How dare they wait and let this happen until the media reports about their own city? Now there's up in arms. All the people in the city of Bell are up in arms. I blame the voters for allowing this to go on, and but for media exposure, but for the filter talking about it and other media sources, the public is now upset. To me, it's too little, too late. And like you said, if someone offered me a contract like that, I'm going to sign it. The voters are responsible.
All right, let's move on.